Hello, this is George Lees. I'm just going to make a little video on the Capetian dynasty. Yeah, that is the people that lead from Hugh Capet way back in the 10th century, yeah, and the French kings and queens that become the heads of the Holy Roman Emperor and eventually become Poppo of Grapfeld. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. It's got a funny French letter with an acute E in it or something like that, that means that you cannot find the location of it. But these are the Poppos of Grapfeld that are the joke about the death of the lobotomy of the woman in the Jack the Ripper from Hell movie. Yeah, the grapes in the solving of that issue are the Poppos of Grapfeld issues, and that is the lineage that leads you to Queen Elizabeth II. And all of the cover-ups by her regime of all of the Prince Eddie Jack the Ripper murders are directly attributable to that. And the computer's just failed me, so let's see if we can get an image back up there. I searched Poppo of Grapfeld and this is the only video you can find. Okay, so did I. So I'm gonna immortalise the video. Yeah, it's a bit religion. The Capetian dynasty, also known as the House of France, is a dynasty of Frankish origin. Founded by Hugh Capet, it is among the largest and oldest European royal houses, consisting of Hugh Capet's male line descendants. So they've got the same rules as the holy fucking Roman Germans, right into Queen Victoria's birthing chamber. Yeah, and so that was why, you know, it's quite safe for them to marry a monarch so that she can become a queen in a country that allows queens to be the monarch. Do you get the joke now? Yeah, that's the Hoik common riding, and all of the people that are not allowed to be participants in riding the marches in Hoik because they're women. For decades, right up to about 5 or 6 years ago, they changed the rules. Yeah, when I came back from New Zealand, yeah, spitting blood about the treason and all of the stealing from all of our students. Okay, so the Capetian dynasty it was consisting of Hugh Capet's male line descendants. It ruled in France as the House of Capet, yeah, from the ascension of Hugh Capet in 987 until the death of Charles IV in 1328. The dynasty had a crucial role in the formation of the French state, initially obeyed only in their own demesne, the Ile-de-France. Yeah, so that is right in the heart of Paris. It's the Ile-de-France that is the island in the middle of the stream, and the focus of many of the fishing stories that I used to read about in Paris. And it's overlooked by Saint Denis' massive cathedral and all of the jokes about the non-existent saints. Okay, the Capetian kings slowly, that's Capetian that time, yeah, and you can see that they fail to understand in the video the meaning of the word, but it is the captain, my leader, yeah, the person that is going to take us through the campaign, yeah, and bring home the treasures from the war. Yeah, do you get it? And my mum told me that a Capet is a chicken. It's a breed of chicken, and we used to see them at Durham Light Infantry Museum, but the eggs that they laid had to be chucked in the bin because we've now gone all political correct. These are the dynasties that commit to all wars, all massacres. They become the Holy Roman Emperors, and all of the religious conflicts and all of the great crusades are conducted on their bloody swords with the Christian cross at the handle end. Okay, the dynasty had a crucial role in the formation of the French state, initially obeyed only in their own demesne, the Ile-de-France. The Capetian kings slowly but steadily increased their power and influence until it grew to cover the entirety of the realm. For a detailed narration of the growth of French royal power, see Crown Lands of France. Okay, this is the link to the grapes joke in Cheapside, near the Bank of England, yeah, where Prince Eddie was involved in the Jack the Ripper murders, as declared, with all of the photos by Greg Hallett, yeah, all of the photos of Kensington Palace, the Freemasons being led by the royals, yeah, out of Kensington Palace, which is the initials for Calpurnius Piso, the Bible fraudster, who's in the same lineage, yeah. And Hugh in the Scottish joke is Shug, and Rabsy Nisbet, yeah, knows the whole story. That's why he puts Shug in, particularly into the Christmas episodes where he comes home to Scotland to celebrate the false religions that are the cover for Kensington Palace, with the initials KP, like the false Bible author. Right then, so I'm just going to let this play, just in case they take it down, because they have now taken down my video on Quentin Bryce declaring that Mr. Bean was the war correspondent for Gallipoli, completely removed from the internet. Yeah, that is the declaration that the London Olympics opening ceremony was a joke about all of Australasia's Anzac war dead. Yeah, yeah, and the joke about the dead woman who got the lobotomy, yeah, because she was a prostitute in the sleaze dens in London when Jack the Ripper was the royal prince. Yeah, she got the lobotomy because she was kidnapped by the Metropolitan Police, taken away in the carriage, and they put the lead, yeah, they put the hammer-like ice pick thing through her head 6 or 7 times on screen in the Jack the Ripper film featuring Johnny Depp, which is why that lady and Johnny Depp are in the news all the time. Johnny Depp has been abusing his wife, allegedly. Yeah, it's massive, and Johnny Depp makes the movies with the woman who's involved in the bringing down of the Twin Towers, and both of them are now on rehab. I forget her name, Angelina Jolie. She's the one that's involved with William Hague in the covers for all of those massive crimes. Yeah, that's the British royals, yeah, that are actually the German main folk. Yeah, you get it now. And the Queen could only be the Queen in Britain. The rest of Germany is still in Bismarck's hands, and all of those families that run the war. Kaiser Bill was the head of the British Navy within days of the launch of World War I. So, listen carefully, because this will be taken down, like the Quentin Bryce videos, and all of the issues, yet the name of the family that actress that played the prostitute that got the lobotomy in Gavin and Stacey is Shipman. Shipman was the war correspondent for Iraq in 2005 for the Daily Mail. He then becomes Gavin and Stacey Shipman, featuring the same actress that got the lobotomy. Yet her name is it's like the Anai Anichi joke. No, I can't remember it. But she's on the title page of the video I made on the massive Azure Blue Rothschild joke about the Rule Britannia song, and that being the Azure main for the British Navy that takes over the whole world is the Azure River main in fucking Frankfurt. All wars, all sides. Right then, let's learn about the Capets and listen for the Poppo name, because that is the direct relative to Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, that's why Johnny Depp has the grapes in his hand, looking bemused about the dismembered bodies, and the bits that get cut out are the Piso pies, yeah, from the groin right up into the uterus, yeah, and all of the birthing apparatus for all of the false monarchy. Prince Eddie ends up in Glam's castle for the rest of his life, and that stuffs up even the falser. It makes the monarchy even falser than before. Okay, Capetian dynasty.
House of France is a dynasty of Frankish origin, founded by Hugh Capet. It is among the largest and oldest European royal houses, consisting of Hugh Capet's male line descendants. It ruled in France as the House of Capet from the accession of Hugh Capet in 987 until the death of Charles IV in 1328. The dynasty had a crucial role in the formation of the French state. Initially obeyed only in their own domain, the Élites of France, the Capetian kings slowly, but steadily, increased their power and influence until it grew to cover the entirety of their realm. For a detailed narration on the growth of French royal power, see Crown Lands of France. Members of the dynasty were traditionally Catholic. The early Capetians had an alliance with the Church. The French were also the most active participants in the Crusades, culminating in a series of 5 Crusader kings: Louis VII, Philip Augustus, Louis VIII, Saint Louis, and Philip III. The Capetian alliance with the papacy suffered a severe blow after the disaster of the Aragonese Crusade. Philip III's son and successor, Philip IV, humiliated a pope and brought the papacy under French control. The later Valois, starting with Francis I, ignored religious differences and allied with the Ottoman Sultan to counter the growing power of the Holy Roman Empire. Henry IV was a Protestant at the time of his accession, but realized the necessity of conversion after 4 years of religious warfare. The Capetians generally enjoyed a harmonious family relationship. By tradition, younger sons and brothers of the King of France are given appanages for them to maintain their rank and to dissuade them from claiming the French crown itself. When Capetian cadets did aspire for kingship, their ambitions were directed not at the French throne, but at foreign thrones. Through this, the Capetians spread widely over Europe. In modern times, both King Felipe VI of Spain and Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg are members of this family, both through the Bourbon branch of the dynasty. Along with the House of Habsburg, it is one of the 2 most powerful continental European royal families, dominating European politics for nearly 5 centuries. Name origins and usage. The name of the dynasty derives from its founder, Hugh, who was known as Hugh Capet. The meaning of Capet is unknown. While folk etymology identifies it with K, other suggestions suggest it to be connected to the Latin word caput, and thus explain it as meaning chief, or head. Historians in the 19th century came to apply the name Capetian to both the ruling house of France and to the wider spread male line descendants of Hugh Capet. It was not a contemporary practice. The name Capet has also been used as a surname for French royals, particularly but not exclusively those of the House of Capet. One notable use was during the French Revolution, when the dethroned King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette were referred to as Louis and Antoinette Capet. There were versions and before. The dynastic surname now used to describe Hugh Capet's family prior to his election as King of France is Robertians, or Robertines.
Do you get that bit? That is Bertie in the war speech. Yeah, just to let them know, Bertie, that we stammer on the Windsors for the Poppo lineage. Yeah, Bertie. All of the Dagobert bloodlines, the world's fastest Indian, and the man that makes that movie is the joke about the rabbit, and his name is Anthony Hopkins. Run rabbit, yeah, the battles on these beaches, yeah, Winston Churchill, the father of Bill Clinton, totally forgotten about now by Henry James Fetzer, who told us all those stories, yeah, about the Churchill family siring and putting the royal blood back into, yeah, the lineage for Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, I forget the harlot's term, but she's an absolute non-royal. And Bill Clinton is her half-brother.
The name is derived from the family's first certain ancestor, Robert the Strong, the Count of Paris. Robert was probably son of Robert III of Worms and grandson of Robert of Hisbay. The versions probably originated in the county Hisbay, around Tongeren in modern-day Belgium. The sons of Robert the Strong were Roddo and Robert, who both ruled as king of Western Francia. The family became Counts of Paris under Otto and Dukes of the Franks under Robert, possessing large parts of Neustria. The Carolingian dynasty ceased to rule France upon the death of Louis V. After the death of Louis V, the son of Hugh the Great, Hugh Capet, was elected by the nobility as King of France. Hugh was crowned at Noyon on July 3, 987 with the full support from Holy Roman Emperor Otto III. With Hugh's coronation, a new era began for France, and his descendants came to be named the Capetians, with the Capetian dynasty ruling France for more than 800 years. Robertian family branches Rodbert, Ingelman of Hisbay, Irmgard of Hisbay, wife of Louis the Pious. Canca, founder of the Lorsch Abbey. Heinrich, Count in the Langau, Poppo of Grapfeld, ancestor of the Frankish House of Babenberg.
Poppo of
Grapfeld,
Grapfeld,
Archbishop of Metz, abbot of the Lorsch Abbey. Robert of Hisbay, Robert III of Worms, Robert the Strong, Otto, King of Western Francia, Richildis, married to a Count of Troyes, Robert, King of Western Francia, Emma, married Rudolph of Burgundy, Adela, married Herbert II, Count of Vermandois, Hugh the Great, Hugh Capet, founder House of Capet, Hildwig, married Reginald IV, Count of the Mons, Robert II. Otto Henry, Otto, Beatrix, married Frederick of Bar.
There we go. So Odo is French Odo, yeah, Frodo in the Lord of the Rings joke, yeah. Hugh Capet is the launch, yeah. He's called the Fowler, and that is the launch of the Chicken Run film for all of the jokes, yeah. You heard the word Hedwig earlier on. All of that becomes the names of the characters in J.K. Rowling's lovely profiteering films about the people that were the world rulers all through world history. And the fat guy that's in the Jack the Ripper movie is also in the cast as a very well-equipped teacher. Yeah. Right then.
Emma, married Richard I of Normandy, Herbert, Bishop of Auxerre. Capetians through history. Over the succeeding centuries, Capetians spread throughout Europe, ruling every form of provincial unit from kingdoms to manors. Salic law Salic law, re-established during the Hundred Years' War from an ancient Frankish tradition, caused the French monarchy to permit only male descendants of Hugh to succeed to the throne of France. Without Salic law, upon the death of John I, the crown would have passed to his half-sister, Joan. However, Joan's paternity was suspect due to her mother's adultery. The French magnates adopted Salic law to avoid the succession of a possible bastard. In 1328, King Charles IV of France died without male heirs, as his brothers did before him. Philip of Valois, the late king's first cousin, acted as regent, pending the birth of the king's posthumous child, which proved to be a girl. Isabella of France, sister of Charles IV, claimed the throne for her son, Edward III of England. The English king did not find support among the French lords, who made Philip of Valois their king. From then on, the French succession not only excluded females, but also rejected claims based on the female line of descent. Thus the French crown passed from the House of Capet after the death of Charles IV to Philip VI of France of the House of Valois, a cadet branch of the Capetian dynasty, then to Louis II, Duke of Illegitimate of the Illegitimate branch of the Valois, who became Louis XII of France, then to Francis, Duke of Valois, Count of Angoulême, who became Francis I of France, and his descendants, of the Illegitimate Angoulême, then to Henry III of Navarre, who became Henry IV of France, of the House of Bourbon, a cadet branch of the Capetian dynasty. This did not affect monarchies not under that law, such as Portugal, Spain, Navarre, and various smaller duchies and counties. Therefore, many royal families appear and disappear in the French succession or become cadet branches upon marriage. A complete list of the senior-most line of Capetians is available below. Capetian cadet branches The Capetian dynasty has been broken many times into cadet branches. A cadet branch is a line of descent from another line than the senior-most. This list of cadet branches shows most of the Capetian cadet lines and designating their royal French progenitor, although some sub-branches are not shown. Descendants of Philip III of France, House of Valois, House of Valois all a copyright and, House of all a copyright and Angoulême. House of Valois Anjou, House of Valois Burgundy, House of Burgundy Brabant, House of Burgundy Nevers. House of Valois Alina Sectionon. House of Epernay Ray, House of Epernay Ray Navarre. Descendants of Louis IX of France. Descendants of Louis VIII of France. House of Artois, House of Anjou, House of Anjou Naples, House of Anjou Euro Taranto, House of Anjou Euro Durazzo.
That is Anjou, that is the province that was owned by the beautiful Eleanor of Aquitaine when Henry II, the father of Richard the Lionheart, that's the lion in Winter film, she was from Anjou in the north of Paris, on the north coast of France, and she had massive estates. So because she could not be the queen in France, she married conveniently the man who was the father of Richard the Lionheart and King James the baddie in the Robin Hood film, and she spent her whole life, or vast chunks of it, in jail because she's given him the land, and she's a fightable Frenchwoman. She can be the queen in England, but she cannot be the queen in France. Do you see how everyone, including Longshanks, takes all of his wife and his son, the Pouf's wife, all come from France because they cannot be monarchs there. Ever so convenient. There has not been a British king, since the Romans invaded. It's a huge joke, and that is the Rule Britannia joke for all of the sad bastards. Quick, let's get the whole of the story before they shut it down.
Descendants of Louis VI of France. House of Drey, Breton House of Drey, House of Montfort. Capetian House of Courtenay, Capetian House of Courtenay Euro-Latin Emperors of Constantinople. Descendants of Henry of France, Capetian House of Mandoy. Descendants of Robert II of France, House of Burgundy, Portuguese House of Burgundy, House of Orbeza Euro-Illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty, House of Braganza Euro-Illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty, House of Cadaval Euro-Illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty. Equals Capetians and their domains equals 3 Latin emperors, Peter, Robert Baldwin II. 36 kings of France, Hugh Capet Robert II, Henry I Philip I, Louis VI.
That's the Baldwins in The River Runs Through It movie. Do you see how the whole thing becomes a calamity? And now that we're not allowed to smack our children and all of the women have all the birthrights of the men, it all looks really arcane and out of date, but it still runs that way. Thank you to the people and politicians of Hawick for those constructive changes. That is Hawick on the Teviot Valley, where blind Prince George of Cumbria and Teviotdale was brought into Queen Victoria's love life to make her a legitimate monarch, to give her the royal marks. And she was 14, and I think she was 14 when she had the baby, and I think you could marry then at age 12. She married again Albert, named Albrecht in all of the Nazi jokes. That is, she married again, so that she could then become the first, as a mum, the first person to wear the virginal white dress, in that celebration in Westminster Abbey. And she's the one that launched the river of blood all the way down the Nile, because all of her babies were sired by the Rothschilds, and they manipulate all of the conflict. I'm just in the process of showing you how they manipulated the massive American Wars of Independence that was run under Abraham Rothschild Lincoln's thrall. The head of the treasury was called Salomon. And that is I forget what the name of the banking empire was, but that's the treasury officer. And the person that made the speeches and gave him the advice on how to fund the whole of the American Revolutionary War as a Rothschild, he got his advice from a general in the army. Yeah, and the general's name is also a joke about the freedom, or the lack of it, or through America. Right then, so let's get the story told.
Louis VII, Philip II, Louis VII Street, Louis IX, Philip III, Philip IV, Louis X, John I, Philip V, Charles IV, Philip VI, John II, Charles V, Charles VI, Charles VII, Louis XI, Charles VIII, Louis XII, Francis I, Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, Henry III, Henry IV, Louis XIII, Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, Louis XVIII, Charles X, Louis Philippe. 9 Kings of Portugal: Alphonse I, Sancho I, Alphonse II, Sancho II, Alphonse III, Denis, Alphonse IV, Peter I, Ferdinand I. 11 Kings and Queens of Naples: Charles I, Charles II, Robert, Joanna I, Charles III, Ladislas, Joanna II, Rena, copyright I, Philip, Charles VII, Ferdinand IV. 4 Kings of Sicily: Charles I.
That's Ferdinand and Isabel, yeah, that launched the massive Christian, not the Reformation, but the Inquisition, yeah. Total massacre, even of the religious clerics, if they were not prepared, yet to just get down on their knees and worship the corrupted monarchs. It's absolutely massive.
Philip, Charles VII, Ferdinand III. 4 Kings of the Two Sicilies: Ferdinand I, Francis I, Ferdinand II, Francis II. 2 Kings of Albania: Charles I, Charles II. 16 Kings and Queens of Navarre: Philip I, Louis I, John I, Philip II, Charles I, Joanna II, Philip III, Charles II, Charles III, Blanche I, Antoine I, Henry III, Louis II, Louis III, Louis IV, Louis V. 4 Kings and Queen of Poland: Louis, Hedwig, Henry. 11 Kings and Queen of Spain: Philip V, Louis, Ferdinand VI, Charles III, Charles IV, Ferdinand VII, Isabella II, Alphonse XII, Alphonse XIII, Juan Carlos, Felipe VI. 2 Kings of Etruria: Louis, Charles Louis. 4 Kings and Queen of Hungary: Charles I, Louis I, Mary, Charles II. 2 Lords of the Kingdom of Albania: Philip 1294 Euro 1332, Robert 1332. 9 Prince and Princesses of Achaia: Charles I, Charles II, Louis, Robert, Catherine, Philip, Joanna I, Charles III. 2 Grand Dukes of Luxembourg: Jean, Henri. 21 Dukes and Duchess of Burgundy: Otto of Paris, Otto Henry, Henry I, Robert I, Hugh I, Otto I, Hugh II, Otto II, Hugh III, Otto III, Hugh IV, Robert II, Hugh V, Otto IV. Philip I, John I, also John II of France, Philip II, John II, Philip III, Charles the Bold, Mary. 15 Dukes and Duchess of Brittany: Peter I, John I, John II, Arthur II, John III, John IV, John V, John VI, Francis I, Peter II, Arthur III, Francis II, Anne, Claude, Francis IV. 6 Dukes and Duchess of Brabant: Anthony, John IV, Philip I, Philip II, Charles, Mary. 6 Dukes and Duchess of Luxembourg: 3 Dukes of Lorraine: Rena, copyright I, John II, Nicholas I. 3 Dukes and Duchess of Durazzo: John, Charles, Joanna, Louis. 1 Duchess of Guelders, 1 Duchess of Limburg, 1 Duke of Milan, 7 Dukes and Duchess of Parma, 2 Duchess and Duke of Lucca, 7 Margraves and Marchionesses of Namur, 9 Counts and Countesses of Provence, 1 Count of Portugal, Henry. 8 Counts and Countesses of Burgundy, 6 Counts and Countesses of Hainault, 6 Counts and Countesses of Flanders, 3 Counts and Countesses of Holland, 3 Counts and Countesses of Zealand. Illegitimate descent: 2 Emperors of Brazil: Pedro I 1822 Euro 1831, Pedro II 1831 Euro 1889. 20 Monarchs of Portugal: John I, the Good, or the one of happy memory 1385 to 1433, Edward, the Philosopher, or the Eloquent 1433 to 1438, Afonso V, The African 1438 to 1481, John II. The Perfect Prince 1481 to 1495, Manuel I. The Fortunate 1495 to 1521, John III. The Pious 1521 to 1557, Sebastian. The Desired 1557 to 1578, Henry. The Chaste 1578 to 1580, Anthony, Prior of Crito 1580, Joe Poundo 4, Afonso 6, Pedro 2, Joe Poundo V, Jose Copyright I, Pedro 3, Maria I, Joe Poundo 6, Pedro 4, Miguel I, Maria 2. 8 Dukes of Braganza, Afonso, 8th Count of Barcelos, 1st Duke of Braganza, Ferdinand I, 2nd Duke of Braganza, Ferdinand II, 3rd Duke of Braganza and 1st Duke of Guimarapaudis, James, 4th Duke of Braganza and 2nd Duke of Guimarapaudis, Theodosius I, 5th Duke of Braganza and 3rd Duke of Guimarapaudis, John I, 6th Duke of Braganza and 1st Duke of Barcelos, Theodosius II, 7th Duke of Braganza and 2nd Duke of Barcelos, John II, 8th Duke of Braganza and 3rd Duke of Barcelos. 10 Dukes of Cadaval de Nuno Alvares Pereira Donalo, 1st Duke of Cadaval de Luas Umbra Cube Sire Alvares Pereira Donalo, 2nd Duke of Cadaval de Jaime Alvares Pereira Donalo, 3rd Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Catano Alvares Pereira Donalo, 4th Duke of Cadaval de Miguel Catano Alvares
de Melo, is the Australian master race. Rothschild yellow joke. Do you get that? Yeah, that's the Mellon Bank in America. That is the bank that takes the Nazi gold, all of the citizens' gold into Fort Knox. Yeah, and it's Melo, all of the jokes. Yeah, that is the sad story that Mel Gibson plays the actor that tries to free Scotland. Like Alex Salmon Rothschild, so many years later.
Alvares Pereira Donalo, 5th Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Catano Alvares Pereira Donalo, 6th Duke of Cadaval de Maria da Pido de Alvares Pereira Donalo, 7th Duchess of Cadaval de Jaime Sigismundo Alvares Pereira Donalo, 8th Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Maria Jose Copyright Catano Alvares Pereira Donalo, 9th Duke of Cadaval de Jaime Alvares Pereira Donalo, 10th Duke of Cadaval. Senior Capets. Throughout most of history, the Senior Capet and the King of France were synonymous terms. Only in the time before Hugh Capet took the crown for himself and after the reign of Charles X is the term necessary to identify which. However, since primogeniture and the Salic law provided for the succession of the French throne for most of French history, here is a list of all the predecessors of the French monarchy, all the French kings from Hugh until Charles, and all the legitimate pretenders thereafter. All dates are for seniority, not reign. It is important to note that historians class the predecessors of Hugh Capet as Robertians, not Capetians. Noblemen in Neustria and their descendants, Cherubert,
just to let them know it's us, Bertie. Yeah, how could we give you recognition? Yeah, that my stammer gets better on the Windsor family name. Not a British king for millennia.
Credovitus Lambert I, Credovitus Lambert II, Count in the Upper Rhine Valley and Wormgall, Rotput I Thuringbert, Rotput II, Rotput III, Rotput IV, King of France, Odo Robert I, Count of Paris, Hugh, King of France, Hugh Robert II, Henry I Philip.
So do you get the French Odo now? Yeah? Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, Bilbo was a Ku Klux Klan senator. Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious if you're a world leader driving the world to war every generation.
Louis VI, Louis VII, Philip II, Louis VIII, Louis IX, Philip III, Philip IV, Louis X, John I, Philip V, Charles IV, Philip VI, John II, Charles V, Charles VI, Charles VII, Louis XI, Charles VIII, Louis XII, Francis I, Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, Henry III, Henry IV, Louis XIII, Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, Louis XVII, Louis XVIII, Charles X, Duke of Angoulême, Louis XIX, Count of Chambord, Henri, Count of Montaiseau-Queuden, Juan, Duke of Madrid, Carlos, Duke of Anjou and Madrid, Jack, Duke of San Jaime, Alfonso Carlos, King of Spain, Alfonso XIII, Duke of Anjou and Segovia, Jacques Henri, Duke of Anjou and Cadiz, Alphonse, Duke of Anjou, Louis. The Capetian dynasty today, many years have passed since the Capetian monarchs ruled a large part of Europe. However, they still remain as kings, as well as other titles. Currently 2 Capetian monarchs still rule in Spain and Luxembourg. In addition, 7 pretenders represent exiled dynastic monarchies in Brazil, France, Spain, Portugal, Parma and 2 Sicilies. The current legitimate, senior family member is Louis Alphonse de Bourbon.
So do you get it? Why King Juan Carlos, who shot his own brother so he could be the king, comes from this dynasty. That's why they had to bring him in to shag Princess Diana. Because Prince Charles has no royal marks either. Yeah, and the Queen's babies, yeah, after Charles, and yeah, that's Prince Philip's illegitimacy, yeah, and that then becomes, yeah, the birth of the one that looks like King Juan Carlos, yeah, the fascists all through, yeah, that's neutral Spain in wartime, yeah, and the revolutions that got Jean Brodie's children killed, yeah, in all the propaganda that leads up to that.
Known by his supporters as Duke of Anjou, who also held the legitimist claim to the French throne. Overall, dozens of branches of the Capetian dynasty still exist throughout Europe. Except for the House of Braganza, all current major Capetian branches are of the Bourbon cadet branch. Within the House of Bourbon, many of these lines are themselves well-defined cadet lines of the house. Equals current Capetian rulers equals Henri, Grand Duke of Luxembourg, Felipe VI, King of Spain. Equals current Capetian pretenders equals Louis Alphonse, Duke of Anjou, legitimate pretender to France since 1989. Infant Carlos, Duke of Calabria, Calabrian pretender to the 2 Sicilies since 1964. Prince Carlo, Duke of Castro, Castrolist pretender to the 2 Sicilies since 2008. Carlos, Duke of Parma, pretender to Parma since 2010. Prince Sixtus Henry of Bourbon Parma, Carlist pretender to Spain since 1979. Henri, Count of Paris, legitimist and all-copyrightonist pretender to France since 1999. Prince Pedro Carlos of all-copyright and Braganza, Petrocubed Polish pretender to Brazil since 2007. Prince Luz of all-copyright and Braganza, Vassouras pretender to Brazil since 1981. Dom Pio, Duke of Braganza, pretender to Portugal since 1976. Current numbers: it is estimated that the Monarchic descendants of the Capetian dynasty consist of 6,500 people. The small number of Monarchic descendants of the kings of France, compared with the theoretical number, is explained by the frequent marriages between Capetian cousins between the 12th and 20th centuries. Some examples of considerable inbreeding among descendants of the
Thank you to God for giving them the result of that. That's all the illegitimate bloodlines. They run out. Yeah, so they have to bring in some more women from other places where they're not allowed to be queens.
Kings of France are Alfonso XIII of Spain, who, instead of having 1024 ancestors in the 11th generation, only had 111 distinct ancestors. Louis XIV of France has descended 368 times from St. Louis. And the 4 grandparents of the Henri, Count of Paris, were all of the House of Orleans, all cousins and all grandchildren of Louis Philippe, currently living individuals and descendants of the kings of France, in male or female line, legitimate or natural, are hundreds of thousands, probably millions, worldwide. Arms of cadet branches. See also, list of living legitimate male Capetians, genealogy scriptores personae census, Capetian Armorial, Treaty of Louviers. References. Further reading, Enmar Kraus, Conflict und Ritual im Herrschaftsblick der Frau 1/4 Hen Capetian Euro und diese Changen der Darstellung und Funktionssymbolischen Verhaltens. Riemer Verlag, Mar 1/4 NSTO 2006, ISBN 970-93-930454-62-4. Fortier, Robert. The Capetian Kings of France, Monarchy and Nation. Macmillan, 1960. Hallam, Elizabeth M. Capetian, France 987 Euro 1328. Longman, 1980.
Just in case it runs out and those little icons on the side change, I want to show you what those little icons on the side are. That is my attempts to profile the Poppo funds. Do you get that one? That's for, yeah, on Wikipedia, when you look up the Poppos, you cannot find where Grapfeld is, but that is the joke, and that is the woman from Gavin and Stacey who gets the lobotomy through her cerebral lobes, yeah, both sides of her head, so she's totally dismembered, and she cannot then expose what the Met Police cover up, that she was having sex with Prince Eddie, yeah. And that is the joke about Frodo and French Bishop Odo, and the joke about Bilbo is that the actor who plays Bilbo plays the corrupted, yeah, Masonic policeman who gets all that dirty done. Gavin and Stacey Shipman, yeah, that's the Gavin and Stacey block in the thumbnail for yesterday's video. Roth's UK and Babin Britannia, the Azure main joke about Rule Britannia. There is the azure colour for the Rothschilds, and they run all wars, all sides. And the American Lincoln thing, Lincoln was not assassinated, Lincoln was a Rothschild. And the French revolutionaries that you heard about killing all those Capetians, yeah, with the with the guillotine, they were already ensconced in America then. That is Danton and Robespierre already safely in America, yeah, not topped at all, in the Freemasonic lodges all over the world, and all of the wars and all of the wars to repair the breach, yeah, injustice that led to the last one, keep the wars going. You heard the Hungarian kings are in the dynasty, yeah, that is Austro-Hungaria. You heard the Otto name all the time, yeah, and you heard the Frodo name, the Odo name, yeah. Do you get it now? It's an odious plot to run the world, yeah, and only 6,000 people are alive from those dynasties today. The world population is 9 billion. Every one of those 9 billion people could have a life were it not for those people. Yeah, and the religious elements of it are absolutely lethal. Thank you to the people who are now the most logical religious people are the Jehovah's, because they're the newest one, yeah, and they think about what they do. They are very scholarly about what they do, yeah, and they are beginning to sense that something is happening here that is bigger than all of what has happened before. It's never been exposed like I've exposed it, yeah. They were even prepared to talk about Naples and the Piso family's frauds. Yeah, do you get it? Every movie that Hollywood makes is a cover for this. Yeah, and all of the massive wars that they engineer and all of the executions, that's Mary Queen of Scots. Yeah, I'm not sure whether she qualifies to be in that bloodline, but there was a Mary mentioned. Yeah, she's directly in the bloodline that leads to the Butcher of Cumbria from Hanover, yeah, like the 3 King Georges, yeah. That is the man who butchered the Scots, yeah, who put down the revolution in 1715 and again in 1745. Massive death tolls for the ordinary people. Okay, we'll finish it off, and so that's my video that you need to look up yesterday. Roth's UK and Babin Britannia, the Azure main Poppo funds, and it explains how my wife and all of the politicians in Scotland that work with the Better Off Together profiteers, many of whom are now dead, the interlock to the sheriff that's going to hear me on the 8th saying that I have no capacity to get any of this terrible news out about why the law courts in Scotland are short of funds. That's Sheriff Peter Patterson. He runs massive scams and jails people for all of these elites that still rule the world, and they are the social landlords, and all the public issues that were public when I was a boy in the 1960s have now been taken back into the elite hands. If I strike oil in my front garden, it still belongs to the Queen, who's in the Poppo dynasty. You cannot even find out where the Poppo grapes were grown. And all of it is shielded by that horrible Met Police issue. And I met Lord Condon's administrator just 2 days ago. They're in panic now because I've got the courage to let this out. And thank you to this is a website, you can look it up for yourself. It's Audiopedia, and this is the Capetian dynasty is the name of the video, and that's what I found when I looked up Poppo of Grapfeld or Grapfeld, the only hit that I got. And the comments down below are this is the only hit you get when you look for Poppo of Grapfeld. Isn't that amusing? And it's only 22 minutes long, and we've stopped at 21:57 seconds. So let's run it till it's dead, and then we'll look for a legitimate heir. It's been a long quest, and all of the murders of the monarchs in Portugal and Spain become Manuel in the Basil Fawlty joke about all of the financial and banking crimes that accompany this. Did you hear the Castro name coming in? The Castrol oil scams, and all of our dynasties from the Habsburgs being the money lenders and the Rothschilds and the Rothschilds. All of the stammering kings that are the warmongers are through the whole of the story. It's really sick. So you understand Queen Victoria and how convenient it was for her as a lady in Britain to become the Queen with the use of a German prince who was blinded by God for what he did. Blind Prince George of Cumbria and Teviotdale, the sire of her first child, Marcos Manuel. The joke about the Portuguese dynasties all through it. Not many people know that King Juan Carlos, who's still alive, killed his own brother so he could be the king, and sired Princess Diana's, I think it is to be the next king, that's William. Or it could have been Harry, I forget which of the two. No, Harry was James Hewitt. Thank you to the Hewitts of the NHS for looking ever so sheepish when I asked you if you were connected to any of those lineages, and always when I make the exposures they go driving past my window. I don't know how the reading the future works, but there is no doubt in my mind at all now that they can read the future. Okay, so here we go. And they're in a state now because they cannot manipulate the future like they used to do, because there's someone, not in the press, it's in my living room, letting the news out about how the world is run entirely by false news.
Le Harti Thierry. Les Capetians, Le Livre du Millénaire. Editions Christian, 1987. External links, Neb, Miroslav. Genealogies of the Capetian dynasty from Genealogy EU. Genealogy EU.
So, I'm going to stop. Do you get it? Mary, Queen of Scots. I think she went to France for a time, looking for the perfect match. And her suitors live within, less than 20 miles of the top of the Teviot Valley. That is the massive Langham jokes about the Armstrongs, the revolutionaries, living in that part of Scotland. Okay, bye bye. There is Naples and the Church of Rome. It's all the biggest fraud in world history. That's the Piso family, and all of the Otto that you heard so much about. That's the launch of Islam and the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, and he and Marcus Aurelius, Otto the Emperor, are direct contacts to King Herod. Yeah, who's the man who's alleged to have topped Jesus in the end. Yeah, Jesus never lived, nor did any of those Pedros. That's why Madonna sings about San Pedro. Yeah, that's the original saint. It's the original sin of the Catholic Church, and that is why, yeah, the cock crows. Yeah, and the Capet for my mum is without any doubt a chicken, and we saw them at Durham Folk Museum. Bye bye.